Channel C. I'm your host, Rick Schatzman. China is now the world's second largest economy, and the latest indicators show a significant slowdown in growth. Will this be a soft landing or a hard crash? And how will the upcoming leadership change make things more difficult? With us today is Jim Rogers. He's the author of A Gift to My Children. Welcome to the show, Jim.
I'm delighted to be here, Rick.
Thank you. Recent Chinese economic data shows significant slowing down, and some U.S. financial experts are saying Chinese economy is in for a rough landing. What's your take on this?
Well, first of all, China for 3 years has been trying to cool its economy off. They've announced over and over again that they have to do something about inflation. They have to do something about the property bubble. So it should be no surprise. Anybody who's surprised hasn't been paying attention. So it is slowing down. How much is slowing down? I don't have a clue. Now, some parts are going to have a hard landing. Real estate is definitely, the Chinese government wants to have a real estate hard landing, and they probably will. Some parts are going to be more like this. If you deal with the West, I mean, you're going to be like this. You're not going to be booming. You're not going to be collapsing, but you know there's a problem because the West has a problem. Other parts of the Chinese economy are going to boom. If you're in water treatment or agriculture or pollution, I mean, you're not going to know that Shanghai real estate is having a hard landing. You're not going to care. You're too busy going to work. You're too busy making money. So it depends on who you are, Rick. Some will have a hard landing. Some will have a soft landing. Some will just land.
Okay. What about manufacturing? That's had a slow down. Do you think that's very damaging as a whole?
Well, I mean, those are the people who deal with the West, and those are people who deal somewhat internally. Of course, if you have a factory that's dealing in those products, of course you're having an effect. It's slowing you down because you're not working as hard as you used to. Mm-hmm. So yes, anybody who deals with the wrong sectors is having problems. Some very bad problems, some moderate problems, but others, as I say, are booming.
Do you feel with the revised downward projections for GDP, do you feel that at some point we're getting to the point where we risk social stability, or is this just far, far out in the future?
Well, certainly. I mean, there have been demonstrations every week in China for the last, 5, 6 years, since the Chinese started opening up. Demonstrations are a way of life when people are upset about whatever they're doing. That's going to continue. Food prices are going to continue to go higher all over the world, not just in China. And whenever people have higher food prices, they complain. They're unhappy. So you're going to see more of that. Is it social instability like Tunisia? I don't think so. No. The Chinese have been becoming much, much, much more prosperous. People in Libya, Tunisia, Egypt, they have not been becoming more prosperous over the past few decades. They've been just sort of stultifying. Chinese will be unhappy, but they're not going to be like Tunisia.
Do you think we're at the point yet where the government really needs to start stimulating the economy?
I don't. I mean, the Chinese seem to think they do. They've started loosening up a little bit. I would stay tight myself, but I'm not China. They don't have to listen to me, and I don't have to worry about the social instability.
What other recommendations do you have that they're not currently doing?
Well, if I were China, I would make the currency convertible. I mean, this is 2012. This is not 1912. It's not even 1982. Mm-hmm. I mean, China is a very rich and powerful and successful country now. I would make the currency totally convertible. It would help with the inflation problem. It would help with it might even help with the real estate problem to some extent. I would also stop subsidizing, they subsidize some things like fuel prices. That's not the way to build your economy. You got to let the market take its course, not bureaucrats.
The leadership transition is having an influence on policies right now, and if so, negative or positive?
I don't, if it's having changes or having effects, they're probably pretty minor as far as I can see. Yes, one new guy's coming in and his friends are going to do better than the other guy's friends who are leaving. But as far as the major change in the direction of China, I don't see it. No, not at all.
Okay. If you look back over the past 10 years of the current regime, which is about to leave, what are some of the things that you think they did wrong? And
the only thing I think that the main thing that China's done wrong in the past few years are the two that I mentioned. One, they've kept the currency convertible much longer than they needed to, and second, they keep subsidizing things. Subsidies cause distortions in the economy, and in the end, you have to pay for them.
I suppose they do it because their social harmony is their #1 goal in order to.
Yeah, but if you suppress reality, whatever the reality is, eventually when it breaks loose, you may have a bigger problem than letting it rise slowly and naturally. Artificially suppressing anything leads to problems down the road.
And at this point, you feel things are strong enough they don't need the artificial suppression?
I certainly do. I mean, my goodness, China's been the greatest success story of the past 30 years. I don't think they need to worry about much of anything.